What's up, everybody? Let me get set up here. What's up, everybody? Let me get set up here. Let me get a minute here to set up. I'll be right with you guys, and we'll kick off this show. Just let's let a couple people join in, and we'll be kicking off this show for you. What's up, fight fans? How we doing? I am your host, Edwin, and we're kicking off another edition of Round One Sports TV, uh, where we cover the latest in boxing news and the sport of boxing. Well, I decided to come back on today. It's a great day to come on. Um, a lot being said and a lot going around in the sport of boxing right now. Uh, so let's talk about this. Well, we know that the Japanese superstar has been in the all over social media, and before we get into him, let's touch up on what's going on with a few other boxers in the sport of boxing, and what should we expect um, coming up in the future, right? Okay, so I was talking about a lot of situations earlier in boxing, how some fighters are coming up and they're being taught in these ways of, like, the bling bling and sign with us, and we got your back, and we have your best interests in heart. In fact, I just stumbled upon Jerron Boots Ennis situation right now. And if you're not aware of what's going on with Jerron Boots Ennis right now is trying to get out of his contract. And in the contract that he signed a contract for like an outrageous amount of fights, if you ask me, because his contract was laid out like a 4-year fight deal or something like that, right? And in between that, he had they promised him 3 fights in 1 year, 3 fights in the following year. You know, it was like 3 fights every year, like that, which it tallied up to some ridiculous amount of like 11 fights or some shit, right? Which basically means they had him signed to a contract for a 7 year deal. That's what it kind of breaks down to, that many fights. And what happened was his boxing promoter died. Yeah. So now his wife took over the business and now he wants out. He's starting to see that he's becoming a global superstar. He is now the IBF champion at 147 pounds, Jerome Boots Ennis. And he feels like he's given them enough and they haven't lived up to their aspect of the contract. Meaning it's reported that what's up, Danny? How you doing, my man? What's up, dude? Thank you, brother. Thank you. You know it. Um, so what's going on is in the contract, when you sign with your promoter and they give you like a 3 fight deal, the promotional company must get you those 3 fights. And they must provide you those 3 fights at least. Now, if you deny any of the fights, they lived up to their end and you didn't live up to yours. You see? That's how that works. So Jerron Boots Ennis was available to fight all those fights within those frame. His promotional company just never got him the fights, but he was willing to work with them because at the time he was content, he was happy. And then there came a time where the promotional company really wasn't securing him the fights that he wanted. Then, tragedy struck. His promotional management passed away, and now his contract passes down to his widow, which ironically, right? What does she know about boxing? Has she ever put together a boxing match? Has she ever been with her husband promoting all this? How much promotional skills does this lady have? You see? And another thing is, I didn't make a deal with her. I made a deal with you, and you became my promoter. If you died, why does my contract go to somebody else? I never made a business deal with them. I don't know them like that. I said I would sign to you. Yeah, to you, not to your company. Like my contract goes down. So it's a strong argument for Jerron Boots Ennis to get out of his contract. He is now in legal as I'm doing this video. Tomorrow morning, him and his legal team should be back in court and arguing this case. And hopefully, Jerron Boots Ennis gets out of that. And we'll see who he would sign with. You know, um, it was rumored that the Zone and Eddie Hearn wanted to sign him. And then Eddie Hearn started kicking around idea that he's the type of fighter that, although good, I would be taking a chance on him. That's what Eddie Hearn said, that he wouldn't sell out there in the UK and he doesn't have a big following here. Although talented, he has to get a following. You see? So I was like, what? Bro, if I had an opportunity, I would sign Jerron Boots Ennis in a heartbeat. It reminds me of a situation where Bob Arum fumbled the bag with Terrence Crawford. How the hell could you have Terrence Crawford on your stable of fighters and lose him because of unsatisfactory? And it goes to show you how loyal fucking Terrence Crawford is, bro. Because when he started going through that whole shit with Top Rank and Bob Arum, he game. He was suing Bob Arum and blatantly telling Bob Arum, "Yo, I don't, you're fucking up my career. I feel like you're being racist towards me in a way, right? That through all that, you do not know Terrence Crawford re-signed with Bob Arum after all that shit because Terrence Crawford knows one of the best promotional companies in all of boxing, which is probably arguably at the top, is Top Rank. They're backed by ESPN, the World Wide in Sports. You can't get any higher. The people probably underneath Top Rank is the PBC. Al Heyman, Mayweather, them. And under them is probably the Zone with Eddie Hearn. And then everybody else. So the top promotional boxing company right now is fucking Top Rank. And without one of these monster promotional companies that are backing you, right? Because what happens is when you make a fight, this is how it kind of goes, just in case you don't know. And for those who know, let's take a trip down history. I mean, education, right? When you sign a fight, what they're doing is your promotional company, right, is asking the people that sponsor them. Let's just do it. Bob Arum is asking ESPN to put up the money, or Bob Arum puts up the money, pending because he's done it. And when it's big, big, big things, ESPN steps in, and they put the money in. So and then they got what they do is they want to fight one of their fighters to fight someone else. They offer him a deal. And within that deal and the structure of the deal, whatever money or guarantee money, the promotional company pays that right away. They pay for the event. Las Vegas, Nevada. You got to turn on them lights. You got to pay all them staff, all that. The promotional company comes out of pocket with that. Then they also start to advertise, promote posters, billboards, radio stations, networks, to start to put the word out that the fight is coming, right? Then your arrangements, your team, your corner, how many plane tickets, how many hotel rooms, how long you're going to be here, they flip the bill for all of that. All you're doing as a fighter is concentrating on the fight, and that's what you got a promotional company for. So as a fighter, you do not have to go through all these things or think of all these things, because that's all being taken care of. From the shoes that you're wearing to the trunks to your mouthpiece, the boxer doesn't have to take care of none of that. When you have a promotional company, the day that you walk into that locker room, everything needs to be established. You're going to finally see what your trunks are going to look like. You're going to see what your gloves are going to look like. Everything. And then you get your money. You get your percentage. And depending if you're fighting on pay-per-view, you get a pay-per-view cut from the network. And then what you get is what we call a drip in the back end. Just in case people didn't catch your fight that night, they want to come in the morning and buy it. You get a percentage for that, and it keeps getting smaller and smaller until that's it. Okay, it's basically how contracts are worked. And in this game, what separated Floyd Mayweather from a lot of fighters, right? And what separates this era from back then was back then we didn't really have the internet. So promotional company was really big to have. Nowadays, with a broad, the internet, the way it made it, man, the internet changed the game, because you really don't need a big promotional company to get your name out there like Ryan Garcia and a lot of these fighters. If you get that thing, you can take off by yourself. You can sell your fights by yourself, but you can promote it, but you have the money to back everything else up. And you turn on the lights in Madison Square Garden. Costs like $100,000 to turn on the lights in Madison Square Garden by itself. Yeah, and can you offer the other fighter the money to fight you? And can you put that up by yourself? He got himself in a position where he could have did all that. He took his little $7 million, $8 million that he had at the time and betted it on himself. And it turned out right for him. Not every story is like that. You see? And you might ask yourself, why do these fighters need these promotional companies? Because you need them. You do. Unless you're coming in the game with a shitload of money and you already have like a dumb following or a gold medal or something, well, then good fucking luck trying to do it by yourself. Let's see how far you go. A lot of men that have been stubborn and took the hard way like Bernal Hopkins, right? Like him. I believe he could have been a better champion. He was really hard to work with because he wasn't giving nothing up. He was all him, him, him. And that's a very good way to, to be. But it kind of stalled out a little bit of his fights and a little bit of his career. Had he been a little bit of a company man, then ventured off by himself, he would have got that, the connections, like he did. Bernard Hopkins did it a little bit different than him, you know. But yeah, so that's that aspect of the game, and that's how that goes. And Deron Boots Ennis right now is a great talent. And for Eddie Hearns to try to be bluffing, like, yeah, I want you, but I don't want you. You know what I mean? To try to get him to get him cheap. He wants to get him cheap because everybody knows in the boxing game, Eddie Hearns is a fuck up. He is. He overpays fighters like a motherfucker, right? I think it was reported like in the first year or something, he blew like $1 billion or something. It was like in a ridiculous amount. It was reported. I thought he was gonna get fired and everything. But he didn't. He didn't, and he's still around. But they recouped some losses during some fights and stuff. Uh Mr. Edwin with two lives in one day. I get it and popping, baby. What's up, Mikey Crazy? Yeah. So but that's what happens. And they want you to think that you're not valuable. Just like Eddie Hearns right now is trying to make Jerron Boots Ennis think, you know, I'm doing you a favor by signing you. And Jerron Boots Ennis is trying to get signed to them people that be paying the big money. I get it. Because sometimes it's not cool always to go with the brothers. Because although it might sound like, the brothers might have your back, sometimes your own people are the ones that fuck you over, you know? And in order to get taken serious, you can't always go with your homies. No, you got to go with someone that is business, you know? So I could see where Deron Boots Ennis is at in his career right now. And it's an interesting situation. If he wins this, that'll open other doors for other boxers in similar situations because once you win something in the court of law, another person can use that. You see? So we'll see what happens with that situation. As far as this guy right here, the Japanese superstar, well, I believe I've said enough about the situation, and I don't think I have to keep beating down the same thing. I've already said what I felt about it, and you guys know. He didn't say shit. He said shit, and if he did, would ever to come out and say some shit, well, then Americans, y'all, them dudes, or whoever's butthurt about it, whether it's the Mexicans, the Russians, the Ukrainians, whoever is, then step up and do something about it. You guys need to stop him. That's it. That's how I feel about it. I love the competition, and the Japanese superstar loves the competition too. And he's not going to shy away from it, which is very great. And I love a champion like that because what are we always talking about in the sport of boxing? Real champions, people not ducking other champions, fighting everyone that is there. That's the closest you're going to get to a man doing that right now. Everyone else in every division, you could kind of say this guy ducked him or didn't fight him or this guy didn't do this. It happens, right? So I know that the Japanese superstar, is entering his match right now with Luis Nares, right? And that's what's in front of him. That's currently what we're gonna get, and that's currently what I want to talk about because that's his next opponent. He's not fighting a text message. No, he's not. And he's not fighting the criticism from all these guys. No, he's not. You know who he is fighting? Luis Nares. That's exactly who he's fighting. And Luis Nares, Pantera, I gotta tell you, I even checked him out this morning again. And for as wild of an approach that he has, right? You would think to yourself, how the fuck did he get here? How did Luis Nares, with those kind of skills and that boxing technique, how the hell did he get here? Right? It's because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to fight. There's much more to that little Mexican guy than just meets the eye. I would look at him on just an observation and I would categorize him as a brawler. If I had to categorize Luis Nares, I would categorize him as a brawler, right? Not as a boxing technician, excuse me, right? I wouldn't say he's like the most craftiest um fighter. So that's where I would categorize him. Now, when I categorize brawlers, you would think, right, when I say the word, it's just a person coming forward, swinging. That's what kind of describes a brawler. But there are brawlers that fight intelligently. He happens to be one of those types of brawlers. He has an intelligent style and a good punching cadence. Luis Nares, right? I noticed, I was watching, in fact, and I was trying to pay attention to his punching cadence because of the fact that I was curious on, well, when I was watching him, I was like, why ain't guys just doing this against him? And he was taking that away from them. And I started to notice, I was like, oh, okay, okay. And he would come in and it would be the 1, 2, 1, 2. And then he would switch it up. It would go up, down, up, down. But it was the same cadence on both sides, right? And then when he had you right where he wanted you, or that he had you going back, he could see the guy breathing heavy. Yo, he can hit hard. He comes in, he starts side to side, side to side. And like I said, what ended up finally beating Luis Nares was a version of himself much bigger, Brandon Figueroa. Brandon Figueroa's style is the same style as Luis Nares. The only thing, Brandon was much taller, much lengthier, you see, and much heavier, as bigger. He was a bigger fighter, a bigger person. And that's what it took to beat Pantera. His same version, but bigger. You see? And then while I'm saying that, I need to identify, wait a minute, this guy right here is actually bigger, right? What I'm saying is Brandon Figueroa is actually bigger than any fighter the Japanese superstar has ever fought. Yeah. He weighed more, he was taller, he was just bigger. So if Luis Nares is fighting guys that big, okay, and he fought him right there, right there. He's been hit by guys, big dudes already. So now that starts to open up my spider senses. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Luis Nares can take a punch. Hold up. He's not like the rest of these guys. I mean, Marlon Tapales could take a punch too. Stephen Fulton until he couldn't no more, right? And Marlon Tapales until he couldn't no more, right? But something tells me that Luis Nares' chin game, you know how the Mexicans are, bro. He might be able to endure just a little bit more than the rest of these guys. One, that's what he's about. Luis Nares is a fighter that expects to get hit with every fight. With every fight, he knows, his skin is like fucking leather, right? He has accustomed himself to feeling that boom, 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 and being able to function. That's where he lives. When you heard him, he's like, I'm home, baby. Come on, you little Japanese dude. That's Luis Narez. Luis Narez took that first Japanese fighter. If you haven't seen neither of those two fights, bro, yo,
Bruh.
he beat the crap out that Japanese dude. Yes, he did, right? Then, they're gonna give him a lot of criticism for coming in the missing weight by 5 pounds. 5 pounds. I know. Look, fight. It does mean something. It does mean something, right? But that doesn't go to show that the Japanese dude didn't also dehydrate himself and gain the amount of weight he was gonna gain. Luis Narez couldn't make weight by 5 pounds. That means that he was already where he was gonna be at. He wasn't. He couldn't make the weight. You see? So, and Luis Narez beat the shit out of that Japanese dude out there. Yo, he's dangerous. And I'm starting to see it. Luis Narez is dangerous for a lot of reasons in this fight. He's dangerous, and then had it been any other fighter in the world, I would give him more of an opportunity. For as dangerous as Luis Narez is, this guy right here really lives up to his name, the monster. And in the ring, a monster technician he is. This guy can be anything and everything in the moment in boxing. You want him to be a boxing technician in the moment, he'll do that. You want to counter with him, he'll do that. You want to brawl with him, he'll do that. You want to switch whatever style you would like to meet him in the middle of the ring, he'll meet you. And in fact, he'll meet you at your own style. Those are unique, special kind of fighters that don't come around every single day. Luis Narez, his chin is weak. He got dropped in the 11th by a weak puncher. I've seen that before in the past, and I also know what you're talking about. I also know that um there's something called as a stun punch in boxing, where that you can catch me in the right place and stun me. Bah, I drop, but absolutely no damage happened to me. Those are stun flash knockdowns. Just pop, boom, damn, bro, you fucking got me. But the guy gets up, absolutely not rattled, not shaking. It is called a flash knockdown. That shit happens. It doesn't mean that you got a weak chin. I'm sorry. That does not mean you got a weak chin. And another thing that comes into mind, if Luis Narez's chin is so weak and he's not on that level, why has he only one man beat him? I'll wait. That means that 99% of his competition, he's better than them. So what are you saying about Luis Narez if he only got one loss? If he was a tomato can, the Japanese dude would probably be fighting somebody else. Not necessarily because they made him out to be the villain in this case for Japan. I get that part. I get that part. That Japan right now is painting the narrative that Luis Narez is the villain in this case. And they want to teach him respect for disrespecting their culture out there. Then after he won, the way he was about it, like, I don't care if I miss weight. I don't get the belt, but I knocked him out, on his way out, like to the media, right? And look, I don't think Luis Narez is going to beat the Japanese superstar, but I do acknowledge his traits and what he brings to the equation. Okay? No one, absolutely no one, leading into that fight in Japan when Luis Narez took on the former Japanese star, absolutely no one had him in that fight. The Japanese superstar out there was on fire. He was an undefeated champion, and he was their hero. No one had Luis Narez in that fight. He didn't beat him once, but he beat him twice. Okay? So it goes to show you that in this sport right here in boxing, anything can happen. Absolutely anything. For one of the first times in a long time in boxing, when I start to think about anything can happen, it doesn't come to mind when I'm talking about this guy now, does it? Luck, for me, is not going to beat this guy. He's not, you just not going to hit him with a lucky shot. They would have to actually be extra lucky. He's too much of a boxing technician. He has a great ring awareness with a high ring IQ, with God gifted talent and great ability, with a good gas tank, a great gas tank, in fact. He has way too many traits and way too many weapons that he can utilize at any time. If he has to fight off the back foot, he can. If he has to go in and mix it up with you chest to chest, he also can. You see? Yo, can I get some likes up in here? Come on, guys. You guys like the show? Can we get a little bit of love? What's up, Victor? Naris' style is tailor made for Naoya Inoue. Easy work. Inoue will counter him all day. Listen, I'm with you on that. Yeah, 100%. I've said that 1,000 times. But here at Round One Sports Talk, we are not biased. We are not biased here, and we do not always point out all the things we believe that's just going to happen. If Luis Narez is a boxer and this is a boxing channel right here, and he has the right for me to give him a breakdown and also give him his my assessment on his fight game. Just because I like the Japanese superstar doesn't mean I'm always going to be like all the obvious things. Everything you might say I or might already know, but I'm also going to bring the other fighter that he's fighting against because there's two men in that ring, not one. And that's why I bring you this. And if you're a fight fan, I want to open your eyes to a lot more things. You see? And bring a lot more light to this, not just a one sided conversation with this guy. Okay? Because he is fighting someone. All right? So, although I know that Lewis, his style I mean, it is tailor made for this guy to knock him out. It really is. Okay? But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Do you think that the big Japanese guys, the guys that felt like they were disrespected, the people that are running Japan, the sports, associations out there and everybody that took what Luis Narez did disrespectful, I'm talking about the big wigs. Coming into this fight, do you think that they called the Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue into the room? And do you think they sat him down and they told him, we want you to teach this guy a lesson? What kind of lesson do you think this guy is going to teach him? Do you think they're gonna let Luis Narez off the hook by getting knocked out in the first, second round, or even in the third round? Is that a lesson? What? How do you teach someone a lesson? You drag his ass on unnecessary rounds, and you keep punishing him. You brutalize him just enough every round, not enough to knock him out, but enough to keep him in the fight. Next round, you put some more on him, and you put some more on him, and you put some more on him. I believe that the Japanese superstar and the powers that be, I think they're going to tell him to really embarrass Luis Nares. And if we see Luis Nares in the eighth, ninth round, it's for a reason. Because if you ask me, if they just unleash him, right? If they just say, you know what, we're not taking any chances. You know, he could pull another upset. Just knock him out, right? I don't think they think that. I don't think anyone thinks that. They're in the position right now where they can literally tell this guy, no, we want you to whoop his ass this way, this, and they can be confident in the fact that he's going to pull it off. You see? So I'm not sure which way he's going to go, but I have him victorious in this fight. Yes, I do. Luis Nares, on the other hand, he's another person that's in this fight. And the way that he's viewing the fight, he's coming in this fight to what? To win, to shock the world. Why? His opportunity is so great. They had to put that size of a carrot in front of him, dingling it, and in order for Luis Nares to be like, "Here we go again." You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
You see, he's got to go back out to Japan, make the weight, but this time he's not fighting for one belt. This time he's being given the opportunity to fight for four belts. Four belts? You mean to tell me I have an opportunity to win all four major sanctioning body belts in one night? That would stamp his name into the Hall of Fame. That one fight in that one night. Yes, it would. It would also put him in the category of Mexican fighters right now, right next to Saul Canelo Alvarez. Do you know how he would be praised and revered? Oh, and by the way, he would go down as being the one that slayed the monster, took his O away from him, his undefeated streak away from him. He has so much to gain in this fight. So much. You see? So the opportunity was so great once again for Luis Nares Pantera not to say no. You see? All he has to do this time is actually make that weight. If he doesn't make the weight, he doesn't qualify for the four belts. And I'm not sure if I don't make the weight on that night, on this particular night, I would freely say I wouldn't fight, right? But you're also not going to walk away from all the millions. You also got all the millions that is a factor. He's probably going to make the most money he ever made in any of his fights, ever, right? So they're paying him the most money. They're offering him a fight for four belts. This can stamp your way into the Hall of Fame. You can go down as a legend. The stage is set. This yo, I I I couldn't say no to this. Yo, people, can we get those likes, baby? Look, if you let Ryan Garcia tell it, him. Naoya Inoue is fighting Ryan Garcia next at 140 at a catch weight. Yo, bro, that dude is full of shit. Ryan Garcia at a catch weight. At your weight, like yo, he's fucking retarded. That's one clout-chasing kid. He has to do all these ploys and antics just to get his name irrelevant with a great one. That's an interesting question. After Luis Nares, who does he fight? I've been saying this on my show for quite some episodes that after this fight, things are going to get interesting for the man. It's going to be hard for him to get level of opponents and the right dancing partner. I've been talking about this. Um, you know, it's good when one fighter can sell fights and you just want to come out and see that fighter. Like a Tank Davis, and you got your Terrence Crawfords, and you got your Devin Haney's. Those are kind of fighters that they can sell tickets on their own. Okay. Um, but it's also better when you have a good dancing partner that's also, you know, The problem at 126, it looks like moving chairs. The belts are like moving around. So who's gonna be there? Who's gonna be there by the time the Japanese superstar gets there? And it is said that he's going to try to get in 3 fights this year. 3 fights. So one of the fights, obviously, is Luis Nares. And who would be his next two opponents? Well, I'm here to tell you that I don't believe the fight with Medalia, MJ, would ever happen. I believe that Naoya Inoue is on a different trajectory already, and I think he passed him. I also think that he passed Casamera, guys like that. I don't think we're ever going to get those fights. Unfortunately, a lot of people would like to see the Japanese superstar whoop up on Casamera because of his big mouth, because he's running his mouth a lot. And I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Unfortunately, Casamero doesn't have anything he wants. You see, and neither does MJ anymore. What's gonna happen to those kind of guys is the same thing that happened at the 115. It's gonna happen at the 118 and at the 122. Same shit. He's just walking through, beat up everybody, took all their belts, right? And now he's going to vacate the belts and they're going to have to fight amongst themselves and become champions again. That's what's going to happen. And it seems like his kid brother is coming right behind him now. And he's going to try to do what his older brother's doing. Interesting enough, he's already here in this situation in his career. And everybody's acting like what he's doing is easy as fuck. Right? And what he's doing is easy as hell. Why isn't everybody else doing it? There's only exceptional fighters, in each weight division that are doing some good shit. And thank God, because of the explosion in 2023, when all these people came to their senses and they started allowing these guys to fight against each other for all the belts. Saul Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford, Jamel Charlo, Devin Haney, Naoya Inoue. Those are men that got all the belts in our era. Okay. But as you can see, I count those men on one hand. Out of all the thousands of men in boxing, I only mention them. You don't find that striking or hard? Shit, it's hard enough to win one world title. Never mind talking about all four belts in two separate weight classes. Now you're talking about some fucking crazy shit. But when he's there, people talk like, oh, he's already here. Like they bypass what it took to get there with him. And that's crazy. Now that's a fight right there. Now Bam Bam Rodriguez, listen. Now that would be a fight. Now I said that I would have had liked him to see him fight fighters like Sonny Edwards, right? And Bam Rodriguez is a good Mexican fighter. I know he's gonna come to fight. I know he's smart and I know he has skill. I know that he has good footwork and he's patient. Okay. Lefty. Okay. Look, lefty fighters, I know that the Japanese superstar has dispersed lefty fighters better than he's dispersed righty fighters. In fact, the only lefty fighter that just recently went a little distance with the Japanese guy is Marlon Tapales. Okay? So, Bam Rodriguez, look, when he fought Sonny, that was a great fight. It's just that Sonny Edwards didn't have enough punch in his pop and his punch. But look, Sonny can fight. I love him. I'm a fan of Sonny, man. I like his fighting style. I like how he looks while he's throwing the punches. I like his punching decisions. I like everything. I like a lot about Sonny. I do. Bam was just bigger than him. He was just too big for him. That's what happened. Size. mattered in that fight. Reason why side mattered because they both had skill. It wasn't like Sonny Edwards' skill was so great that his size didn't matter. No, when you can match skill with skill, then size matters. That's what happened in that fight. A fight with Bam and Naoya Inoue, that would be a good fight. That would be a good fight. Now, I've seen the Japanese superstar with fighters such as skilled as Bam Rodriguez. Yes. Yes, I have. In fact, Manny Rodriguez. Am I saying name right? Yeah, I am. Manny Rodriguez, right? When he beat him in the World Series of Boxing, that Puerto Rican dude is a great fighter. Fighters like Paul Buller, fighters like Donaire. He's beaten good, crafty fighters like that already. You know, real slick, fast. But Bam is a little bit lengthier than all of those guys. He's a little bit length. Bam has that like weird boxing shape, but it's really good for him. Where that he's thin, but his hands are so fucking long. It looks like his elbows are touching the side of his fucking thing. He looks like he can hit you from over there, right? That would be an interesting fight. But I've seen the Japanese superstar maneuver around the few inches that his opponent had on him so effortlessly. He moved in on taller, much taller fighters like the Frenchman, um, Jamie McDonald, you know, a lot of taller guys, and he effortlessly moved in on the inside and dispatched him quick. So I can't say that Banz Rodriguez's little bit of reach would really play a factor when the Japanese superstar is so skilled, he'll take that away from him. Yes, he will. And then Bam will have to be left with fighting him. He would have to fight him. And then until I actually saw that, then I could say, you know, whoa, 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 whoa. You guys are getting that class in here. Okay, let's go back. I gotta read some of you, catch up with you guys. Oh, look, you make no mistake. You guys know that they're paying Luis Nares all this money for their beating he's about to take. That's no secret. That is no secret. He's going to get a beating. What Luis Nares is going to try to do is flip the script on the whole world and say, you guys thought he was going to beat me, but I'm going to beat him. That's easier said than done. You know, that is easier said than done. You're not just going to walk in there and, 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 and beat this guy like he's some tomato can. That's not going to happen, bro. Look, my honest assessment, you really want me to just speak like freely, right? Luis Nares don't stand a chance. He just doesn't. The Japanese superstar is not the type of fighter that's going to make the type of rookie mistake that will give you the night. He doesn't underestimate no one and he takes no opponent lightly. He never goes into the ring thinking, I already have this guy beat. He's going in the ring thinking and fearing that this could be the one. What boosts him up as the type of fighter that he is the motivation of wanting to prove that he's the best time in and time again. The Japanese superstar's discipline is so high, his focus is so high that he's not the type of fighter that's going to give him an opportunity. The only opportunity that Luis Nares stands to gain is the ones that he creates for himself. He's going to have to make these opportunities for himself. Whatever game plan he devises, he's going to have to initiate it. Unfortunately, coming up against a fighter such skilled as this, your margin for error is small. You can only do so many mistakes in front of him and get away with it before he punishes you for it. So not only can you not make mistakes, right? But you got to be able to take your opportunities when they present them. You can't miss. You also can't make a mistake against, trying to land your offense on him because it's going to turn on to being a long night. At some point in the fight, Luis Narez is going to be in the ring and he's going to be looking for some place to hide inside of the ring. He's going to be trying to survive. This guy right here's relentless pressure is going to crush his guard. As you can see, he punched Marlon Tapales right through the guard with his gloves on a punch that was partially blocked. It was so strong, he dropped them. See? So I don't think that Luis Narvaez, and the one good thing about this Japanese superstar, if you're asking yourself this question and you don't know, he can take a punch. Yeah, he's got a great chin. He's already been cracked in big situations. Got his orbital bone broken and won the fight. He's persevered. He's been battle tested. And on top of that, he brings all these traits. It's hard to imagine someone coming along that doesn't at least possess some of these traits. But I've talked about this and I've said this, right? There are certain kind of fighters that don't do the dance the way it's laid out, right? They're right. When you're fighting boxing, you know, you got a guy that's a wild guy and he's like all over the place. You can't pick up his timing. It's hard for you to determine what to do next because he's got you guessing too, and you got to be aware. You don't want to get caught with anything crazy, right? So that kind of puts you more defensively until you start to figure him out. And you're like, oh, he's just doing bullshit. Let me lay him out. Ow, right? And that's what you would have to do. Fighters like Navarrete are the type of fighters that scare me. A fighter like Navarrete. Fighters like Navarrete went into fights that many people thought he was going to lose the fight, right? He just didn't get the memo. Navarrete's a type of fighter. The only way you're going to beat him, you got to detach him from his senses because he's just going to get up every time. He's just going to keep fighting you. He's that kind of fighter, and he's a wild man where that he has no boxing strategy, right? It's not like him and his coach are developed. No, Navarrete is the type of fighter that he lets nature take its course. Whatever way the fight's going, it's the way he's gonna fight you. He has relentless pressure and he hits hard, and he can take a punch. Look, these men are really unique in the way of their styles, and I understand their styles because as I'm watching the fight, kind of know what I'm looking for. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, wow, Navarrete's his footwork is trash. He's got some of like the worst footwork in all of boxing, bro. That shit is garbage, right? And this man is a two-division world champion. Like, it goes to show you if you know yourself as a fighter, other people looking at you might say you're no good because they don't understand fighting. They don't understand that all fighters don't have to look like this guy in order to be good. No, you don't. You have to understand yourself. And you have to have certain traits about you as a fighter. You know, don't break. I've seen that guy be winning the fight the entire fight, the more slicker of the two fighters, you know, and the durability of the other fighter outlasted him. And a lot of people were left with sad faces in their mouth, like, wow, that guy shouldn't have beat him. He had no skills. No, he had a skill. His skill was his fortitude, his will to win, his will to stay in there, not to be broken, not to concede in the fight and say, "Oh, I lost." That's a skill. He wasn't there just getting punched around. He was in there wanting to win the fight, and he did. You know, that's a skill. That is a skill, man. And that's how I view boxing. When I look at these guys, look, I honestly believe that the Japanese superstar is a little bit too skilled and a little too he has Luis Pantera Nares outgunned. What I'm starting to see is, wait a minute, this guy has been in the ring with big punchers. This guy has also been in the ring with bigger fighters. Okay. Now, although the Japanese superstar hits hard, I mean, it's not like he hits everybody and everybody's just laying out. Okay. If you give him that shot, he looks like he has the power to knock you out. But it also shows that, guys can take his punch, but it fucking hurts, right? So it's how long, and is the Japanese superstar's punch exactly what it is? Like, is he hitting like, a guy that big? And as he's moving up, is he getting stronger? And is his punch getting stronger with him? I've seen in many occasions big punchers move up a weight division and weren't able to knock out the next guy in the next weight division. They just one weight division, bro, and they just weren't. They couldn't bring their punch with them. It seems like this guy is just fucking skipping through divisions, just up. Let me get this belt up. I'm just coming through, coming past. Let me get your belt. All right. I'm just gonna go up to the next weight division. Excuse me. Knock. He's just doing it at a pace we're not accustomed of seeing. For God's sake, the greatest American boxer right now only has three weight divisions. Terrence Crawford with 40 plus fights, right? The Japanese guy has four weight division with only 26 fights. He's just making it seem so easy that they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know what else to say. They're like saying like, man, he has to be little. And he has to be that the fact that there's nobody down there. That's a weak argument. That's a very weak argument. Because if that was true, then why ain't the fighters like Stephen Kubo Fulton doing it? Why isn't he getting all the belts then? Why isn't he moving through four weight divisions? Why isn't anybody else doing that? That's a weak argument that they say that he's little and that it has to be that there's nobody there. Really? Then then everybody should be able to do it right behind him. No, there are a bunch of killers down there and a lot of skilled fighter. Let's just keep it in mind. The lower you go down is the most skill in all of boxing. The further you start to go up is the most power in all of boxing. The heavyweights might not be the most skilled. They don't have, but they got great power. And as you go down through the division, what makes the 130, the 135, 140, 147, 154. At some we had great champions at 154 at one time, but it's usually from the 147 to the 130. They're considered the glamour divisions of boxing and the heavyweight division. Those are the most watched divisions in all of boxing. Why? Have you ever asked yourself why is those the glamour division? I'll tell you why. It's because it's where power meets skill at a perfect weight. The guys will still be that much skilled, but they'll be big enough to have good power. And that's where we get a lot of skilled knockout punt fights in those weight divisions. That's why those are the most glamorous weight divisions, is because that's where they're saying a human being can be not too bulky, looking too slow, and possess a lot of skills. Like, okay, Arthur Benavidez has the 3 belts, and he's going to fight Demetrius Bivol, right? When you look at Arthur Benavidez, he has 100% knockout ratio. Every man he's ever fought, he's knocked out. But look at how he fights. Yes, he has great power. He's no Naoya Inoue, right? He doesn't have that kind of skill. They're just a little too big, right? They have a lot of power. They just a little, you see? So when you move down, you got the Tank Davises, the Devin Haney's, the Terrence Crawford. Look where they're all out. The what weight division they're in. The Errol Spence Juniors, the Shakur Stevensons. The list goes on. Look where what weight division they're fighting in. The most excited. People, can we get some likes? He is way too far away from him in weight. Don't even bring that up. Oh, I gotta push these messages down. The MJ fight seems like the most competitive fight in that division to me. I feel like we would see fireworks in that fight. I understand, all right. I just don't think we're going to get the fight. I think that ship has sailed for MJ anyway. I'm saying this because I believe that the Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue is in a different trajectory. I only think that him and his management team, when he won the first 4 belts, right? 30 days after winning those 4 belts, I don't think he really thought of it. I think he was like, nah, just vacate the belts. I want to move up, right? And once he had the opportunity, that he saw that he got an opportunity at these 4 belts, the odds of him fighting for another 4 belts, the odds are extremely against him. The odds that you're going to try to convince me that all the powers that be are happy that Japan are getting all these records? You think everybody's happy? You think these people are going to be like, oh, yeah, Japan, why don't you come and destroy our American records? And we're going to help you. Fuck out of here. They're going to try to make it the worst for him at this point because he already tied our guy. Bob Arum is nice like that. Bob Arum for Top Rank, he got his guy in there. You know what I mean? Right? So, but for now, what he didn't do when he secured the first 4 belts is defend them. Defending the 4 belts is a whole different category. There are a lot of men that have gotten the 4 belts but never defended them. And they will not go down as that kind of champion in the Hall of Fame. Meaning you defended all 4 belts. It's one thing to get them, but it's also one thing to defend them. He didn't defend the first 4. You see? And neither did Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford didn't get to defend the last 4 because they already stripped him. Duran Boots Ennis got one. They took another one. So he'll never get that opportunity. So the way that the Japanese superstar can also go up one on Terrence Crawford, defend those belts. You'll also go down in the history books as that kind of champion, and you'll get that out of the way. He can do that with Luis Nares. After the fight with Luis Nares, there's nothing there for him at 122. He successfully got all 4 belts, and he made a title defense. What more do you want? Sticking around is just giving another guy an opportunity. When you can just go up one more weight division and enter a status in an atmosphere in boxing that not most people achieve, or fight this guy for bragging rights. The MJ fight is not going to happen. The fuck is he gonna fight MJ for? Just to prove that he could beat him? When he can take that same opportunity and move up to his fifth weight division where shit really gets crazy. He's not gonna fight NJ. He's not gonna fight fucking Casamera. He's not fighting any of these guys. He passed them. They had their opportunity back then. They needed to be in the right places at the right time. And mind you, that a lot of these situations in boxing are strictly situated. You had to be there at the right place at the right time sometimes. Sometimes an opportunity will come in boxing. One guy will get hurt, he'll pull out, and you'll get a phone call, and I'm hope you're ready. You know? And sometimes you might have to pass on opportunities because you're not ready. You're not doing what you were supposed to do, and you were advised against it. He's moving up is the move. I'm I'm waiting, bro. That's gotta be where he the fun is at. That's gotta be where the fun is at. 126, baby. Ah, ah, you know it. That's exactly where everything is at. You know. Look, that's gonna be a big moment in sports. That's gonna be a really big moment. And when he does go up to the 126, I just want to clear. Let's talk about a couple possibilities of how he can enter there. Okay, okay, we all know clearly he's gonna fight for a belt. That's a no brainer. You know, he ain't fighting nobody at 126 for just fucking shits and giggle, right? It's gonna have to be for a belt. The only belt that guarantees him an entrance is the WBO title that he has. He can put in the paperwork to be whoever's the WBO title. If tall homeboy there, Espinosa, if he still has that belt, well then it's him. Then that's who he's gonna fight, right? So that's the way I think he'll enter the 126. He's gonna go the WBO way because it guarantees him a title fight. Now, yes, any other champion, if he does not have a mandatory scheduled, can accept the fight with the Japanese superstar and give him an opportunity and themselves an opportunity to be the one to defeat him. Yes, that could happen. The WBC champion could fight him, the IBF champion could fight him, or the WBA champion can fight him. Now, you convincing me that those men are going to sign up for that, that I got to see. That I got to see. The thing is, it might not just be all up to them. Their promotional, their handlers, and their management might be like, yo, we're not giving this guy an opportunity to clean house and get all the belts again. So they might not be so reluctant to get in the ring with him. See, we're probably all viewing it as, you know, uh, who's he gonna fight next? I just don't think that everybody's willing to sign up to fight this monster. That's my opinion on that. Okay. And that's how I see it. So moving forward, the only way I see him entering the 126 would be through the WBO, and he would get access that way. Unless one of the guys is daring to be great and doesn't give a fuck about what they're saying about him, and he's like, I'll fight him, straight up. Then we got ourselves a fight. That's, but if I saw it as I'm not sure if that guy's gonna be champion when he gets there. I don't know. So we'll find out more about that. The Saudis are throwing all that money at him for $69 million, $70 million, right? And that to me, his next fight could very well be out there. You know, listen, to put it in terms, how much money that is, if the Japanese superstar made $3 million his last fight, that was a lot of money. All right. I believe they paid Stephen Kubo Fulton $2.3 million against him. Okay. So it's not like he's really um like raking in the dough. You know what I mean? It's not like he's like so $69 million to the Japanese superstar. Bro, you just got a markup. I think that's a no-brainer. After the Luis Nares fight, we should be seeing him fighting in Saudi Arabia out there in the desert. Um, I don't see how he could turn down $69 million. They haven't announced an opponent. They just announced how bad they would want him to be out there and what they would give and what they're offering. What they're offering is enough to, to pique my curiosity. Did you just say $69 million? Yo, get this Luis Nares fight out of the way. Get out of the way, bro. Like, I'm out of here. Book my flight. I'm gone. Like, seriously, like, you couldn't stop me, right? Give me 1 second. All right. So you couldn't look. I It's crazy, right? Because you wanted to make a title defense during while the fight was leading up. You wanted an opponent, right? So you get Luis Nares, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this for Japan. I'm gonna restore our honor, our honor." This guy disrespected us, and all of a sudden, $69 million. 60. Why the hell did I sign up for this shit? Like, get the fuck out of the way, bro. you know? What you guys are saying here? Oh, look, he said $69 million has a big money fight in the Saudi. Yeah, yeah. These American fans are soft. Naoya only said that a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They be butthurt. Some of them, not all of them. You know what I mean? You know, some of these guys, American dudes that are saying those, like in every country, we got our soft ones, our ass ones, our biased ones, but don't underestimate the Americans as fighters. They are great fighters, and just like I don't underestimate no fighters because all fighters can come from all walks of life. These are just individuals that are being haters and biased towards this great fighter, and they're trying to um take down his credibility as a fighter because they can't beat him in the ring. So they're trying a different avenue to discredit him, break his name, destroy his legacy, make everyone think that his belts are no good. That's what they're going to try to come after. This is a dangerous game. And there are a lot of people that do hold ties with fighters and legends that were there first. They're not gonna turn their back on their fighter. That was like in the NFL when Joe Montana was the GOAT and this young football player was coming up, Tom Brady. And a lot of NFL players wouldn't dare to go on live TV and said that Tom at the time was better than Joe because Joe is that dude. Deep your loyalty. Don't switch ships. And I understand that a lot of fighters were loyal to fighters like Floyd, Sugar Ray Leonard. Those guys are still alive, bro. And what you think they had in these functions, and they're telling them, yo, your records are getting trashed by this dude. Fighters that still interact with these dudes are going to show their loyalty. They're going to show their respect. And even though before some guys go on, I'm pretty sure they're like, damn, how am I going to sell this one? I'm trying to trash the best fighter in the world and make him seem like, because I want my guy. I get it. I get it. I get it. And some people are just straight ignorant. Now, I'm not speaking for everybody. Some of them are just fucking haters. And some of them just can't see him for what he is. They're just blind, and I don't want to argue with those people. I understand and I can tell the difference between a company man that is forced to look at a prompt monitor and he's highly educated as a boxer and he has a great boxing IQ, but yet what he's reporting is not that. Because I know Max Callahan is a lot. Yo, he knows a lot. Max Callahan knows more about boxing than I probably ever know. And sometimes the things out of his mouth, I'm like, come on, Max, are you crazy? You can't believe that. And I know he doesn't, but he's paid to look into the prompt monitor and to read what they're pushing out, their narrative. And he's at his job. He has to, they're paying him to say this. That's crazy. They allowed his reporting mind and what he really did and know about the sport to get him in that far in his career just to quiet his mouth. And they used and they allowed him to speak throughout the years. And they had the viewers say, this guy knows what he's talking because he does, right? And then they fucking tied his mouth. And then he really found out what it's like. Max Callahan, those checks are too big to say no to. I get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you do need that to sell a fight. Yo, you think you're slick with that name, right? But I'm gonna let you know right now. I know a couple of Vietnamese people that grew up with me in my hood, and do my that name that means fuck you in Vietnamese. Bro, I know what your name says. You know what I'm saying? Think you're slick, bro. Do my do my may. That's a Vietnamese word for a swear word. Bro, I grew up around Asian dudes, man. We used to kick open some doors together. Yeah, man. Oh, you see, you laughing, right? Yeah, yeah, brother. I know. Come on, bro. I done grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Corner store was the Arabs, the Chinese. Yo, come on, man. It's America, baby. We all you can't yeah, baby. Listen, we keep it funky. We keep it you know what I'm saying, worldwide here at Round One Sports Talk. You know what I mean? But listen, fight fans, look, I love chopping it up with you guys all the time. You know what I'm saying? This has always been a pleasure. You guys are cracking up. Yeah. 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 Yo.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? We gotta hit for you. That's right. Round One Sports Talk, baby. Yo, but where were we? Real quick, because I gotta go eat. My food's already done. I can smell it from here. Look, um, I'm just excited right now for this guy. And I don't want a lot of you viewers out there to be misled and some of the narratives that they're gonna be putting out and try to take down such a decorated fighter like this young man right here. And like I said, he's so good for the sport of boxing, but when things are so good sometimes, there are people that don't like that. They like the fact that, they have these young fighters set in their ways, the bling bling, the cars, the facade, the big butt women, spending all their money, causing a scene while the cameras are rolling for your entertainment. As you watch his life unfold and unravel, and they get views, and that's all they really care and like about it sometimes. But when we have this and the purity of the sport, and we have this kind of fighter, you know, um, that he doesn't come along very often. I believe we have to get on and support this kind of fighter. So listen, I love you guys here at Round One Sports Talk. It's been a pleasure. I've been your host, Edwin. I'm signing off right now.